for one camera, we're on and we're ready to go. What do you think?
Oh my gosh, the other
Carla?
camera's oh no.
No,
I'm looking way too far over.
That's for people who bring in their own little phones, and some of these phones are really exotic. They can attach their phone there and actually do a live feed off of there if they'd like. I've seen several, or you can pull that little top off and you could put a camera in. This other group, they attached the camera and they actually recorded off of it too.
Awesome.
You just pull that little part
Yeah.
off. Welcome
right.
to the show. Wow.
Good morning.
How nice to see you back by popular demand.
Awesome.
So you know what to say.
I was like, oh, that just blindsided me for a moment there. I have popular demand now? Awesome. That's great. Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone out there. I'm Carla Vaughn with WOW for Small Businesses. That is words of wisdom for small businesses. So wowforsmallbusinesses.com, my lovely website, and my lovely co-host, Henry.
Nice. And I like being here too. It's really nice to be associated with you because I learn a lot off of what you bring to the table here. And it's nice to hear all the things that you bring and all the subjects, all the different things associated with running a business. Sometimes you get good advice, sometimes you get bad advice. And where would you say the good advice comes from and the bad advice? Let's give that a roll.
Where does it come from? It comes from that business person's perspective and level of knowledge, and like you mentioned before we got live, acumen, which is really the whole thing that makes up ethics and knowledge base and how you're going to do your business. And it's interesting, Henry, that you wanted to talk about business advice because I got a call. So I had a class before this, and my phone started ringing in the middle of class, and one of the ladies says, "Oh, you got a call," and I was like, "Yes," and I forgot to put on Do Not Disturb. Anyway, so I saw who it was, and I was like, "Oh, I'll call him back." And the gentleman turned around and called me again before I could get in my car good, and he says, "I have a good friend. He's a tax preparer, but he says, but you do accounting, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do it." He knows this because I've done his, but that's beside the point. I said, "Yeah, so that's my trade." So he says, "Well, I just don't feel like I'm getting the right answers from my friend, and so I'm calling you to find out how do I work through this EIDL loan, and that's the emergency injury
Get that fixed.
disaster loan." Okay, I can keep the list fixed. Okay, so EIDL loan. So, and he was like, they're saying that they don't have my taxes. Oh my goodness, what do I do? Blah, 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 blah. So I told him, I said, first of all, you're not alone. There's so much that has happened behind the scenes with businesses, including our wonderful IRS, the government. And you're not the only one who has sit there and said to me, I mailed them in, and they're claiming they don't have my 2019 or 2020 or whatever, and I'm just so frustrated. And I'm listening to them. I was like, first of all, truly, you are not alone. I said I had a client in my office, Henry, last year. She filed her 19 and 20, an older woman. She signed them. We stuck them in the envelope. We mailed them from the office.
Oh my gosh.
IRS claimed they didn't get one of the 2 years, and both years were in the envelope.
Wow.
So I told them, I understand sometimes the things that you go through for challenges, you're not alone. That's number one. You got to get out your head. It's about me. They're persecuting me. No. Okay, things happen. So I told him, I was like, this is what you need to do. You got your copy. Put it in the mail. Put a letter on top saying, I have already sent this. So you will make them double check before they process again. But let them know you've already sent it and you're sending again because it's not showing up in their system. And I told him, I said, the big thing right now, send it certified mail. So he says, oh, thank you so much. That makes so much more sense. And I feel so much more secure about trying to get my tax documents and all like this. And he gets off the phone. And my thing is, you would think that the tax preparer, his good buddy, should know enough about what's going on to have had maybe similar clients already have these experiences. But not necessarily. So some of your business advice and, answering questions and stuff definitely has to come from, one, you being a problem solver to help with your clients and support them that way, and two, also too, for you to have enough experience to say, well, it's already happened to someone else, I understand.
And you talk about this, and you think sometimes some people will give you advice and they really don't know. They're just shooting it out there, and you're thinking that they may know, and they're giving you the completely wrong advice.
Yeah, but you don't know.
You don't know.
You got the wrong advice.
Well, don't stick your hand on the hot plate on the stove, whatever you do. We always did that, right?
Well, but I also advise friends and family and, clients that if you, number one, if the advice that you're getting, you don't feel 100% confident that that was good advice or that person knew what they were talking about, that's okay. Ask two other people. So like I have a good friend up here. She just moved into her first home, albeit a little late in life, but she finally accomplished it, yay. And she wanted to get the something electrical done. And the guy gave her a quote of like $16,000.
Lord have mercy.
And I said, Laura, if you're listening, I love you. I said, Laura, did you call the electrician that I gave you to see what his quote was? And she says, oh no. And then I said, this is how it goes. As a homeowner, and you're a single woman too, and you don't know stuff. 3 quotes. 3 different people, minimum, to tell you, if they all tell you this is the same, everybody agrees this is the problem, you're 100% sure that all those 3 people are qualified to give you advice. Then after that, it is, what is the quote? Is it going to fit in your budget? And then the third thing is, in my opinion, do you like them well enough to do business with them?
That's right. And make sure, hey Carla, I'm going to give you advice, and maybe you can give me some advice back. Would you like some water? I didn't bring the water in for us, and I'm parched. I know we both need water. Give me your best advice. Should I run and go get some for us?
I think you should.
I think so. Why I wrote down, I didn't bring no water in here. And I'm sure you're parched too.
I am. My water's in the car, but I couldn't drink it while I was on the phone trying to talk to this client coming up here.
So I'm going to excuse myself. I'm going to patch into you.
Okay,
now it's strictly on you. You'll see it's
strictly on me. Oh my goodness.
It'll go up just on you here in a second. So as soon as that comes up, I'm going to go get us some water.
Okay. So I get to handle the show all by myself. Oh, the horses. Anyway, so I want to tell you a little bit about what WOW is, why we're taking a commercial break. Okay, so words of wisdom, or WOW for small businesses.com. What it's about, it's a motivational, inspirational, and insightful set of webinars that are on there to help the small business owner. So whether you're starting up in business or you're in the growth phase, this is a great site to go to because you're going to get business tips as well as the, hey, get your butt out the bed, okay? Time to get up and get to work and go work your magic routine, okay? So I don't want to ever just be encouraging without giving you the tools that you need to improve who you are as a business owner or who you are managing your life as a business owner, especially if you're splitting it between family obligations and community work or whatever else is going on in your life. And one of the things that makes WOW so important is that it gives you a fresh perspective, because we all live in our little cocoons. We live with our, what I call our blinders on, as we're walking through life as an entrepreneur. And it's very hard to pull those blinders back and see that we have many, many layers of being a business owner and what that looks like and what that feels like as a solo entrepreneur is something that only other entrepreneurs can identify with. And this is something I truly learned being married. And my first business, I didn't I had my blinders on, and I didn't
For
know.
the marriage or the business?
A little bit of both. And I didn't realize that I needed a different audience to talk to beside my husband. Until he said to me one night, I had gone to an affair with my business partner. I was all excited, and I come home, and I start, and this is what Anthony and I did, and this is the context we made, and we went through the Chamber of Commerce, and and I'm just excited. Okay, I'm still new in business. It had been our first year, and he looked at me and he just said, "When can we go to bed without you, me, Anthony, and the business?"
It's funny what when you said this to me, I kind of got the wrong impression. When you said, I went to an affair with my business partner, I thought you were going into an affair with him. I'm sorry, but it just...
No, he was married.
I know.
We weren't doing that. We were just doing business.
I know, but the way it sounded to me. So, well, that was the problem, I was going to say.
Yeah, that would have been the problem. That would have been the problem. But it was a eye-opener for me, Henry. And it helped me, and it really helped me later on in life, because when I got married again and I wanted to talk about certain things, my husband had no clue what I was ever talking about. So, and I was like, wow. I was like, gosh, this seems familiar. And then it occurred to me it was familiar because I'd already been through that experience. So I say that to say, whether we're talking about business challenges or you're talking about, sometimes you just need to unload with business and what's going on with clients or your processes, the best thing you can do for yourself, truly, listen up, the best thing you can do for yourself is talk to someone else who is in that same boat with you. Okay, if your husband works a 9 to 5 at King Supers or Excel or something, no offense, people, he loves you, but he doesn't understand a word you're saying. If you're out there being an entrepreneur and you're trying to tackle the world, he has no clue. Okay, he may want to have a clue because he loves you,
and probably don't even care.
but he don't have a clue. Okay, so sometimes that whole connection is like super, super important. So when we do Wow for Small Businesses, a lot of what I talk about are those connections with yourself, connections with your clients, connections with other business owners.
And that's nice to hear how you put that all together, is making sure that you can, have discussions with your business partners, or if you have to talk to somebody, get with somebody that's, like you said, on the same playing field. Now, there was something I'd like to share with you about somebody on the same playing field. This individual from down under Australia wanted to, collaborate with KUHS.
Okay.
And he has the same kind of a setup.
Okay.
What was so interesting is how far apart we are. Yet, we connected so well because we do the same thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Him speaking to me, I'm sure I have a slight little accent.
Compared to what he's used to.
Yeah, and him saying, thank you very much, mate.
Yes.
It was nice that, Zoom in, we just did a private Zoom in, talked it over, and it was just so interesting. He goes, if you need to know something, what's happening in the future, just let me know. I go, what do you mean? He goes, well, I'm Saturday, you're barely Friday. So it was interesting. Yeah, it's like, he'll let you know. It's like, that's true.
That's right.
He'll let you know what's going on, in Ukraine news or whatever.
That's right. That's great.
How did you know that, Henry? I know it's going to happen on Saturday.
Because I'm a day ahead of you.
Yeah, so all these variables that we were going over, and we had to talk about that. And so, like you said, discussing things with somebody that knows what you're doing. And we spoke the same language. It was perfect, but we were just talking.
There you have it.
Just kind of different, though. It was so different. I was like, man, did I step into the future or whatever? He had long white hair like the guy at Back to the Future, Doc.
Yeah!
It was so interesting.
Christopher Lloyd, right?
Yes, you knew his name.
Yes.
I was trying to figure out his name, and my son looked it up for me. That's Christopher Lloyd. And it looked just like, it was like, I thought, did I step into Back to the Future?
Are you going to see, what was the other actor for that, the boy?
He's got
the short guy
Parkinson's.
with the Parkinson's.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Kenny, I know him 'cause he's got Lloyd there with no problem. That's the harder one.
Okay, we'll move on because our brains like, no, we're going to spend
But it's
10
so
minutes trying to
interesting, like
remember
you
his
say,
name.
how to talk that
Mhm.
language, because we talk the same language and the type of platforms we're using, what we're doing, and how we're doing it. And so we don't have that continent. We now have that continent.
And I love how you said that. Talk the same language.
Yes.
That says it in a nutshell.
And when you talk the way he spoke in his language, and I mean, it's not Australian, it's still English, but the accents.
Mm-hmm.
You call me mate.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what I have found out? So, I always say for some reason I attract certain individuals, and I have Russians and French people and Africans and
all variables.
Yeah, all variables. But when my first learning to listen moment started with my African client. He was married to an American woman. She was originally my client. They were married and I was doing their taxes. But then they got divorced. And for some reason, he got me in the divorce and she didn't. But his accent, he was from the Ivory Coast, his accent was so heavy, it would make me listen more because I couldn't quite always understand, especially over the phone. It was better in person, but especially over the phone, it was an effort. But I found that in a way that kind of was good because it made my brain stop and say, I've got to listen. I've got to be very intentional when I'm listening to what this person has to say, because the language barrier was a little bit of a problem, and it was more important for me to understand the wants, the needs, the questions than ever before. And that sometimes is part of that connection that you eventually get, because you're listening to new words, you're listening to a new dialect,
yes,
you're listening.
It was really cool.
To,
it was like stepping
accent.
Back to the future.
Mm-hmm.
It really was, because now I said, I'm speaking into the future, ain't I? He goes, yeah, on Saturday. It was so interesting.
Yeah, and I remember the actor, Michael J. Fox.
Yes, Michael J. Fox.
That's right.
And it was such. I used to like that show. It was really neat. A neat movie, and they took you. I think there was 2 or 3 of them.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is that was very successful. That was a very successful couple of movies with them, which was great. The thing is, it also too is one of those things that when you see things, sometimes they're a brain teaser, because it makes you think. What if I could go back and change something in my past so that I could have more of what I want today?
In the future.
Yeah, in the future. So, like with Wow for Small Businesses, we want to do stuff like, do you want the problem or do you want the solution? So don't focus on the problem, focus on the solution, and then you will get a little bit further ahead.
You said that. I use that all the time, but I use it a little bit differently.
Mm-hmm.
I say, there's never a problem, there's only a solution. And that's one of my catchphrases here.
Mm-hmm.
And I use it on LinkedIn and a few other places. And it's in LinkedIn. It's never a problem, only a solution.
Yeah.
If you can find that solution, that's the thing. And sometimes the problem is extremely difficult. You get all your people and you all do some critical thinking. Somebody always comes up with a solution. Ooh, that was nice. Where did you come up with that?
That's true. That's true. I mean, I actually had a little hiccup in the pool. I do water aerobics. And this was a couple of weeks ago. It was my Saturday class. And I was ready to we hadn't used the paddle boards in a long time. So I gotten the paddle boards out, but one of the ladies, she's so sweet. Her name is Betsy. Hi, Betsy. Okay, Betsy gives me a lot of, I told Betsy this morning, it's like, you're my muse, because you always help me with topics before I get on the station. And so Betsy likes the volleyball that I've been bringing. So the volleyball is a brain game. It's not for exercise. It's just a brain game for a few minutes. And so we're in the water, and so we've got the volleyball. She wants to play with the volleyball, but everybody's got their little paddle boards. And everybody's standing around, it's like, uh-oh, now what do we do? And Betsy said, we're going to sit on the paddle boards. And I was like, Cool. So we sat on the paddle boards and started throwing the beach ball. You talk about fun.
And you laugh
And the goal was you're working your core,
yeah.
and you could not retrieve or get the beach ball unless you were on your paddle board.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah. So it was an interesting way to solve a conundrum of, well, we still need to do this and we also need to do this. So how do we bring that together? So sometimes bringing those ideals out to other people as challenges, or if you use the word problem, whatever, you'll be surprised other people aren't seeing it like that. They're seeing like, oh no, there's no challenge here.
Yeah.
There's only a solution.
Yes. And that's the thing, you got to be able to find that solution. And sometimes people won't be innovative. They won't retool whatever they're stuck on as being an entrepreneur and get lost. And they think, oh, I can't ever get out of this. What am I going to do? And there's always a way out. There's always a way to configure, rethink, remove this or do this or whatever it is and get out of the situation that you may be in. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Excuse me.
They always say they got a frog in your throat. I've never understood why there was a frog, because frogs go ribbit, 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 right?
Yeah, so,
but people always say, I got a frog in my throat.
Yeah. In this case, it was a little mouse, and I don't know why it got in.
Get him out. Well, there was a gentleman who I had been seeing for a while, and I found out he was really not the person for me to be seeing, because he always had huge challenges. Stuff was always happening around him. Of course, me and my spiritual self, I'm like, you're attracting this.
That's correct.
And now you're influencing my world. And
that's the thing. A lot of people bring it in. You got to know how to bring in the good. It's true. You can. I always say, use the universe. Bring in the good. Bring in the good, and it'll come. It will come. But you always think, oh, and then all of a sudden there's always this problem or these issues. And the frog in my throat. You know what it comes from?
No, I don't.
I always put a lot of cinnamon in my coffee grinds when I make coffee.
Oh.
Then I made some oats and I put cinnamon in it.
Okay.
So I've got all this cinnamon in my throat.
But cinnamon is good for you.
I know, but
Well, keep flushing it. It'll be good. It'll be all right. It'll be all right.
It's like I did overkill this morning, and I know I did. But that's what I thought I'd share that with you right now.
Well, let's take a little passage from that. So, how do you learn? Okay, if you put too much cinnamon in your coffee, and then put it in your oatmeal. So the question is, was this a learning opportunity, or have you done this enough times in the past where you just like to have a little extra cinnamon and you don't mind that it messes up your throat?
That's true, but it didn't. I put a little too much today. I went a little overboard. I was like, yeah, I love cinnamon.
So my partner.
Does it work like that in business? Sometimes you do a little too much of something. And
it depends.
Yeah, and you go, like, I bit off more than I could chew on that contract. Or I did this, and should I? But there's ways out on if you buy too much into a contract, you can get somebody else to come in on that contract and split it.
Well, that's what I have been working out in the last couple of weeks, because I got a contract. It's a great contract. The guy's easy to work with, but his books are like, okay.
I know exactly.
He's got so much stuff going on, and I can't keep up. And my assistant